reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network. MMO Reporter's coverage of PAX East 2012 is brought to you by our exclusive sponsor, Squarespace. And I'm here, I've been talking with Perfect World, and I'm here with Marc, the producer for RaiderZ. Can you tell us a little bit about this game?
Absolutely. So RaiderZ is a free-to-play action monster hunting MMO. I know that sounds like a lot, but the action part of it means that it's non-tab-to-target gameplay. It's real-time battles, constantly evolving, changing situations, very fast-paced action. The monster hunting aspect of it, I'm sure you're aware of the game Monster Hunter, right, where it's about hunting down the big enemies, taking the drops and the things that they give you, using it to your advantage, whether it's to fight them or to fight the next bigger monster, constantly improving yourself and constantly getting to the next level, fighting the next guy, the next big boss, and the game just gets bigger and bigger as you go on.
In the demo that you gave just a little bit ago, you talked about the classes. Can you give us an overview about the choices that you can make as far as how to build your character?
Well, I'm glad you said it that way, because the game is all about choices, and it's all about giving the player the freedom to set their character up specifically how they want. So we call RaiderZ a truly classless game. But what you will do when you start the game, you'll choose one of 4 base jobs, and that can be either the sorcerer, the cleric, the defender, or the berserker, all of which kind of they fulfill their normal MMO roles. Like the defender is the tank, right? The berserker is the DPS, cleric's the healer, and so on. So you'll choose one of those in the beginning, and through the first couple levels in the game, you'll start to fill out that skill tree. You know, so if you have the elemental magic, you'll build those up, and you'll kind of inherit different types of skills and things like that. However, there is a point where the rest of the skills from all the other jobs will open up to you. So you can start putting your skill points into those. So if you want to be, for example, a heavy DPS healer, you absolutely can. If you want to be the guy wielding a shield and a one-handed sword, but still have the elemental magic available to you, you can do that as well. So we're all about giving the players the freedom to set up the character specifically how they want, to tailor it to their own style of gameplay.
Now, we also talked about the fat loots that are there with the bosses.
Yes.
Can you tell us about how the progression in the game goes as far as the loot goes? Because you said it is very specific, well, not very specific, it's focused on the loot.
Yes, it's a very very drop-heavy game, and that's what you're going to do to build yourself up, to build your character, craft your gear, craft your weapons, everything like that. So people that, like the collectors and the people that love to have all the best stuff and craft the best weapons are absolutely going to love this game. Now, what's cool is it's not just loot, like things that you collect and you take to the crafting NPC. Sometimes you kill a character and they'll actually drop a piece of themselves, or they'll drop their own weapon, which you can in turn pick up and use against them. One of the enemies that we saw in there was this kind of weird sea creature, right? But he had this big, the heavy two-handed, club-style weapon. The character we were playing though was a sorcerer, which uses the one-handed staff. However, once we killed that enemy, he dropped his big club, which would normally be reserved for the berserker type of character. You could actually go over and you would pick it up, and for a duration of time, you would inherit that weapon's skills, and you would become that style of character for a temporary amount of time until you can kill the next one. So you're the sorcerer, which is like long-range elemental magic. But when we picked that club up, we immediately became like the heavy-hitting, DPS guy, and you can kill the next enemy. Just so happened the enemy next to him was like a crab, was like a shell crab, right? So once you hit him, there's a roll or the possibility that he'll drop a piece of his shell. Now, his shell is not a weapon, but it'll give you health regen. So, if you're low on health and you kill one of them, it'll regenerate your health. And that scales all the way up to the big bosses. So I mentioned Monster Hunter style gameplay, and RaiderZ is all about like hunting down the big guys, the big epic boss, battles, and that's what's the most fulfilling. It's the most rewarding for the players, and that's what you're going to be spending most of the time in your game going after. And just like the smaller enemies, those big bosses have some epic loots also. They can drop a piece of themselves, piece of their armor. They can be a temporary status buff. It can be some ingredient or recipe for a craftable item, and it only gets bigger and bigger as the game goes on.
Are you going to have instance dungeons as well as part of it?
Absolutely, instance dungeons. Vast majority of the gameplay will take place in the outer world. What's cool is that the boss monsters, they just roam, the outer. They just roam the territory, so you don't have to like transport to an arena or an instance or anything like that to find them. To fight them, you go and you hunt for them, and sort of the general area that they'll be in, but you have to track them down. But there will be instances as well. The instances are very difficult in this game. One thing about Raiders I have to say is that it's very difficult because we really promote party-based gameplay. We don't force it. There's no forced partying at all, but you're really going to have a really nice, fun experience by forming a party of people with a variety of skills, everyone that's able to help each other out and fulfill different roles. And that ties in really closely with the classless style system to where, if you have a friend, he might not be a healer class, but he can have a healing ability, but he can still take a lot of tank damage. So that translates well to the instances, which you just asked about. Instances are very difficult. The normal spawns are hard. The mini bosses and the major bosses are very difficult, but they're the most rewarding. It's where you get some of the best loot in the game.
Now, one of the things that a lot of MMOs struggle with once they launch and they get a couple months in is keeping players interested once they hit that max level. What's going to be your approach as far as that goes?
Now, we're fairly early in Raiders. We just wrapped up our first alpha, which was just a short amount of time. A few people got to play it, and we started to gather the data and the user feedback, which we'll be applying to the closed beta coming up soon, and then ultimately the open beta sometime in later 2012. So we're sort of focusing on that core gameplay right now. However, we already have a plan for post-open beta, post-launch content to add to the game. It'll increase the level cap. It'll add more monsters, more craftables, more instances, things like that. So us at Perfect World, we're pros in keeping these games going for a long time and long-term support, and you're definitely going to be able to see that in Raiders.
So when you pop into the server and you're playing, what is your favorite character to play?
Oh man, I go after the Berserker because he carries the a big two-handed sword or the big two-handed mace, and it feels really, really powerful. And I love the feeling. I also like the look of the armor. That's what's most fun for me. I do get myself into a lot of trouble though, so I normally need someone with some healing spells to come and help me out. But that's what I like the best.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time. Can't wait to see more of Raiders, and good luck with the development.
Thank you very much for stopping by. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And PlayRaiders.com is where you want to go to check out any more information.